Thank you, Mr. President. I come to the floor today to speak as Senator Thune has just spoken about the disastrous results on health care for patients of the Obamacare. And you have to go no further than this Sunday's New York Times, the Sunday Review, front page, cover, looks like a red cross tilted on its side with the headline, "Sorry, we don't take Obamacare." Sorry, we don't take Obamacare. I see the minority leader comes to the floor, Harry Reid, and talking about how wonderful it is. The president says forcefully defend and be proud of what? Of something that, sorry, we don't take Obamacare. Now, this is the New York Times, a newspaper whose editorial board has supported this health care law. They talk about the pains of the Health Care Act frustrating patients. Let me just tell you, Mr. President, it says Amy Moses and her circle of self-employed small business owners were supporters of President Obama and the Affordable Care Act. They bought policies on the newly created New York State Exchange. We have two Democratic senators here from New York. Where are they to respond to what's happened to the people of their home state as a result of this law? But they bought insurance policies on the New York State Exchange. What happened? Well, when they called doctors and hospitals in Manhattan to schedule an appointment, they were dismayed to be turned away. Not once, it says, but again and again. Here they are. It says, we don't take Obamacare. It's the umbrella term, the hundreds of plans offered through the president's signature health legislation. Mr. President, this is the New York Times about New York, big city, places where there should be plenty of doctors, plenty of opportunity. Ms. Moses goes on and says, anyone who is on these plans knows it is a two-tiered system. Is that what the president promised the American people, a two-tiered system? She describes the emotional sting of those words to somebody she's a successful entrepreneur in a two-tiered system. She says, anytime, she says, one of us needs a doctor. You're talking about a number of women in New York who are entrepreneurs, very successful. Anytime any one of us needs a doctor, we send out an alert. Is that what we're supposed to have? The president, anytime anybody needs a doctor, send out an alert. You have a sore throat? Send out an alert. That's what they need to do. The alert says that they send out among this whole group in New York, does anyone have anyone on the exchange plan that does, and then they describe what they need, mammography or colonoscopy, who takes our insurance? She says it is really a problem. I could go on, Mr. President. This is what the President of the United States and the Democrats in this body who shoved this bill down the throats of the American people have found that they have created. A plan that 1 in 4 Americans say has hurt them personally. That's just one story in the news in one major newspaper, but it says a lot about the health care law in general. People know, and we've just heard from Senator Thune, this health care law is a lot more expensive than the president ever promised. People all around the country remember the president saying it would drive down health care premiums by $2,500 a family if this became law. Remember that? People all across the country remember it. Just hadn't happened. Costs have gone up, co-pays have gone up, deductibles have gone up. People have lost their plans, lost their ability to see their doctor, can't go to the hospital they want, can't go to get the care that they need. And of course, insurance companies are cutting back on which doctors people can see. They're cutting back on what drugs people can take. All of those things because of the health care law. This health care law has made health care worse across the United States of America. We know that some insurance companies are dropping states entirely in terms of a place to do business. So millions of Americans are going to lose their insurance plan even again next year. Remember what the president said, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Well, not next year, not last year, not the year before that. Even the Kaiser Family Foundation, who studies these things, says that there are more than 650 counties where families will have only one choice for insurance next year. Now, Mr. President, I just pulled up an article from the New York Times. That's not the only place there's been a similar article. This is Monday. This is Monday's paper, May 16th, Wall Street Journal. Health insurers quit rural exchanges. Just abandoning rural areas all across the country, my home state of Wyoming, but it's happening everywhere. There's entire states, Alaska, Alabama, Wyoming. There's only one choice where people can buy Obamacare insurance next year. Now, often if you only have one choice, you're put in a situation where you can take it or leave it. Not under Barack Obama. Oh, no. You must buy it. You have no choice other than pay an expensive penalty. That's what health care looks like now under Harry Reid and the Democrats and Barack Obama and the United States senators on the Democrat side of the aisle who voted for this monstrosity. Take it or leave it, but you can't leave it because you must buy it. Well, what happens when there's no competition? What happens when the health care law adds thousands of pages of expensive mandates and costs continue to go up? Premiums have gone through the roof. These are the requested premium hikes for Obamacare plans for next year. We've seen requests in Virginia, 33%, Oregon, 32%, Iowa, 43%, New Hampshire, 45% for some families. People are finding out that their insurance premiums are now higher than their mortgage payment. So what do the Democrats say about all of this? Well, someone brought this up to Hillary Clinton. It's a picture of her there on ABC News. They brought it up to Hillary Clinton at a campaign event in Virginia last week. A woman who owns a small business said, "I've seen our health insurance for my own family," she said, and she's telling this to Hillary Clinton, "go up $500 a month in just the last 2 years." She said, "We went from 400-something to 900-something a month." So what did Hillary Clinton have to say about this? What was her response? She said, quote, "What could possibly have raised your costs?" She said, "That's what I don't understand." Is she serious? What could have possibly raised your cost $500? I don't understand. It's Obamacare that raised her cost. Where has Hillary Clinton been the last 6 years that she doesn't understand that? This was in Virginia. So this small business owner, the woman that went to the town hall meeting, asked Hillary Clinton a question. She may see her rates go up another 33% next year. Well, it's not just Hillary Clinton who's clueless. Harry Reid, the Democrat leader who just left the floor in the Senate, came to the floor last month, and he said, and he told the world, Obamacare is working. Harry Reid, minority leader, senator from Nevada. Does Harry Reid not understand that millions of Americans are paying more for their health insurance and their health care than they did before Obamacare? Many paying for insurance, but they can't get care, as we see from the New York Times story. Does Senator Reid not understand that people are paying more for coverage and getting less care back in return? Does every senator on the Democrat side of the aisle who voted for Obamacare not understand how this outrageous law is hurting America and Americans and the people of this great country? Well, there was a new poll that came out last month. It found that only 44% of Americans approve of the health care law, but 54% disapprove of the law. I remember Senator Schumer from New York saying, well, after we pass it, it'll get more popular. Still, 54% disapprove. And it's the highest disapproval number, Mr. President, in the last 2 years. In this poll, almost 1 in 3 Americans said that the health care law has had a negative effect on their family. A negative effect on their family, their personal family. Not that they know somebody, but in their own family. Hillary Clinton doesn't seem to understand that. She said she actually wants to expand Obamacare. She wants more regulations, more restrictions, more of the terrible ideas that have driven up costs for American families. Mr. President, there was another piece of news last week that shows one more way that the health care law is failing. Turns out that the Obama administration has been making illegal payments found by a judge to be illegal to big insurance companies to help prop up this health care law. That's what the federal court ruled last Thursday. Back in 2014, the administration asked Congress to appropriate money to pay insurance companies above and beyond the subsidies that they already get that the government pays for insurance premiums. It's called a cost-sharing subsidy. Well, Congress, power of the purse, refused to appropriate the money. You know what the administration did? The administration panicked. It knew that without more Washington spending, people would pay even more out of pocket for their health care costs. And it would make Obamacare even more unpopular than it is today. So in the panic, because they knew that if that happened, people would realize how expensive the law really was and the disaster it's turning into, people would see that all the president's promises about reducing costs were nothing but fairy tales. So the panicked Obama administration went ahead and they handed over the money anyway, without the authority of Congress. The total was about $7 billion over the last 2 years. That's how much additional taxpayer money the administration has given away so far to hide the fact that the health care law is an expensive failure. And the American people have had enough of this costly and collapsing health care law. They've had enough of losing their insurance, losing their doctor, losing access to the prescription drugs that they need, and paying 20 or 30% more every year to get less coverage. So the Democrats can come to the floor and pretend that Obamacare is working. Democrats like Hillary Clinton don't understand what's going on. Well, the American people know exactly what's going on. They want us to repeal Obamacare and replace it with health care that actually works. Fewer restrictions, more freedom, freedom for people to get the coverage that works for them and their family, not what President Obama says they have to have because he believes he knows better what they need than they do. We need fewer mandates that drive up the cost for everyone, more options for patients to see the doctor that they want, to get the medicine that they need. Mr. President, that's what the American people want, and it's time for Democrats to show that they are listening to the people of America and that they understand, because up to this point, they've not been listening and they do not understand. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.